Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to The Chosen Chronicles. FTW's hottest podcast and its host Conail Gardiner is about to take you behind the scenes of the FTW's biggest stars. Get ready, listeners, because here he is, FTW's chosen one seed PG himself, Conail Gardiner. 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a couple weeks of us being off due to scheduling conflicts with Entourage, we are back. However, this time it is episode 21, and I've got nobody better to think of for episode 21 than the man to my left. He could be to your right, he could be to your up, he could be to your down. He is one of the founding members of FTW alongside Byron. He's been here longer than me. Yes, I didn't even think that was possible. His championships that he has won are off the record. They're off the chain. They're bigger than DC's. They're bigger than Alan Matthews. They're bigger than Dead X himself. He is a three-time world champion, four-time tag champion, if I could speak right, a one-time Triple C, a one-time Imperial, and a one-time Alliance. He is the real-life husband of Courtney Spivey. But ladies and gentlemen, to my left, none other than Raheem the Dream. Raheem, it is absolutely amazing to have you on, my friend. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, and I really appreciate you having me on. I'm really happy to be here to talk with you and let people see a little bit more of Raheem, the man.
It's been a long time coming. Realistically, that's what we've said before this, that we've wanted you on for some time. To be honest, I wanted you on in the first bite in the first season, but it was just crazy, and we were trying to schedule everybody on. But realistically, it's nice to see, because this is the first time me and you have ever had to sit down, apart from maybe talking on Facebook Messenger. But it's nice to see the person behind the name after all this time. So let's jump right in on it. What about FTW? How did Byron rope you into that, and how have you stuck it for so long?
Oh, awesome. Me and Byron, we go way back. We're like just a couple of nerds. We used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's pretty much how we met, and through the competition of that game. And he's a good guy. I known him a while. He's just an all-around nice person. And I was in a Facebook group, Wrestling Talk, and for a while I was one of the admins and everything. And it was just kind of a group of guys talking about wrestling, all kind of things, and just hanging out. And I added some people to the group, and including Byron was one of the people that was added to the group. And it's just kind of organically turned into where we're at now. We just kind of like putting predictions of pay-per-views and stuff for fun. And it just kind of snowballed into a little bit more and more of a competitive thing. And then we started the WTPL, and once that kind of ended, we went to where we're at now. Byron got this league started, and of course I was going to be with him from the jump. That was my guy.
Well, that's the thing I find funny, is because basically everybody, and I'm not taking any credit away from Byron whatsoever, because the amount of work he does for this thing is unbelievable. But what a lot of people don't realize is the people behind the scenes that have been sort of helping out from day one. So the likes of maybe yourself and DC and Haywood at the start, and then like a few other ones that like me, who have helped out along the way, being GMs and stuff. But maybe give us some insight on how Raheem the Dream came about, and how you are this legendary factor in the world that we call FTW.
Raheem the Dream. What my name being Raheem the Dream was just something that a lot of people would just kind of throw on there. I think it probably comes from like Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, a famous basketball player, and my name ended in like with him, and it just rhymed, and it was just kind of something that was started being said, and I just kind of went with it and ran with it. And when we started developing some character work and everything, and I was like, well, what is Raheem the Dream? And then that's when I decided that Raheem the Dream is just this really confident in himself, cocky, think Miz, Ziggler, like that type of guy that just knows he's it. And that's kind of where it came from. The name stuck, and I just brought the character out of the name.
Yeah, and it's absolutely brilliant that because that was going to be my next question about how sort of who in the real world has influenced that character. But you mentioned the Miz and Dolph Ziggler and how you can be that cocky factor because that's the way CPG sort of came around. Was CPG always thought he was better than everybody, and it was sort of a fuck you that this is my organization. I don't really want to be here, but I'm here because well somebody has to make this place better. But you alongside Byron Raheem are two of the most consistent high scorers that I have ever seen. Have you got some sort of intel in WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, absolutely anything we predict on? And if so, can you please give them my number? Because God knows I need it more than anybody.
Oh man, I think it's just the experience, years of consuming so much wrestling media. I mean, I've always watched more than just WWE. When I got deeper into wrestling, ECW, WCW, Ring of Honor, New Japan. I've always been interested in so much of wrestling throughout the years and its history and stuff. I've always watched so much different wrestling, and it takes up such a big portion of my life.
Well, and that's what we said. It takes up what people don't realize is especially with these groups like FTW and the characters like CPG and Raheem the Dream, that takes up so much of our personal lives as well because we've all got 9 to 5s, we all work hard. So then when we come
Right.
home, then we instantly switch on Raheem or Raheem the Dream, or we switch on CPG, and then that's another big part of our life. You previously mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's not the first time that has been mentioned on this podcast by Byron, by DC, by Caleb. Explain to a few people who don't know roughly, if you can, what Yu-Gi-Oh is and just what about it makes it so special to a lot of people.
Yu-Gi-Oh is it's a card trading card game. You can collect or play. It's an actual game that you play competitively. There's a anime, manga, and is based off an actual game anyway. So that's really what it is. And I kind of got into Yu-Gi-Oh because of my brother, and before I even knew about the anime or any of that stuff, I just knew the cards, and I used to take him to the comic shop to play. And for a couple of weeks, I just sat around and I just decided to, hey, well, let me just learn this game here and try to play. And I got quite good at it, and it took me on a journey of competitive play, going to different bigger size tournaments and stuff. And the game being competitive is where you meet a lot of great people. And I mean, I've met a lot of great people in my Yu-Gi-Oh career. Thankfully, Byron wasn't too far. I'm live in Virginia, and Byron also lives in Virginia. So I just had to drive 30 minutes across a bridge to go to shops on his side. And then within the surrounding states or stuff, if we went to tournaments, or whether it's regional tournaments or something called Yu-Gi-Oh Championship Series tournaments, we'd see each other at those events too. And he was always a great person to talk to and everything like that. So Yu-Gi-Oh has brought a lot of people that I know into FTW. Fun fact, one of the best recruits I've ever had was Chris Ravencroft, DC, and I met him through Yu-Gi-Oh. um, Me and him actually judged events for the competitive side of the game before together. So we always would talk about wrestling, on the side and stuff when we would get together. And when this thing was kicking off, I was like, oh man, I think I have a perfect person to bring here. And I talked to him and he was very interested, and
The rest is
he
history.
was one of the greatest additions to FTW's history ever.
And again, and DC doesn't like to blow smoke up his own ass, but I will. He's a legendary kind of guy too. He's absolutely a phenomenal person, a phenomenal stalwart character here in FTW. If realistically, if he wasn't here, I don't know if FTW would run as smoothly as it does. He's nearly Byron's right hand man at this point. And I think he's just an absolutely amazing, amazing kind of guy.
He's awesome. He's a good person, phenomenal writer with the promos.
Mm-hmm.
The written promo, he changed the game for that.
Absolutely.
We were a bunch of video promo guys, and he came and changed the game for how written promos are looked at here, and he's the best at it in my opinion.
And I think it just brings out he has a different creative standpoint when he does them, and I just don't know what clicks in his head, but anytime he writes anything on that group, it's magic.
Absolutely.
Absolutely magic.
And he's been a great foe for me throughout my prediction career as well. Is working with him is just it's fun. It's so smooth. Myself and Courtney Bell, we've had some great interactions, great stories, great arcs in FTW story history. He's phenomenal. He has something in here that's just special.
Next level. You just mentioned I don't know if that cut out again, but if it did, um yeah, I'll just give you a second to try and reconnect if you're here.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You mentioned Courtney Bell, which a lot of people may or may not know. I'd like to think that they knew, is your wife. Um, we were trying to get Courtney alongside you today. Unfortunately, Courtney's not well, so everybody here at the Chosen Chronicles, including myself, sends her our love and well wishes, and hopefully she can get up for an episode very, very soon. But as CPG, that's Courtney gave me one of the greatest matches I've ever had in my career last week. And I lost, I think it was a score of 28-26 for the FTW championship. And I was looking the whole night, mate, and I could see that I was ahead, and then she was ahead, and then I was ahead, and then she was ahead. And then going into the last, she just pipped me. And I looked, and I've never seen a grown man ready to cry, but it was so close, but yet so far. But again, like you said, there's people like DC, like Courtney, like yourself, Byron, Haywood, Brandon. There's just so many people that are so easy to work with in the FTW, in PWMF, in I don't know, but like the likes of the BWO, where it makes it so easy to do our job, so to say.
Yeah, absolutely. She's phenomenal with the work she does. She's good with the video. She could do these great vignettes. She's very creative with that. She can switch her character off and on from spooky to creative. When she was Liz, the sous chef in Prime. That was an idea I ran by her and Kevin, and they liked it, and they did great work with the idea. Um, so yeah, she's very versatile, and she'd kill me if I didn't. But to those who can see, yes, the FTW championship is in this house.
It could have been in this house, but it's still in that house. So close, but yet so far. Raheem got his hands on the FTW championship just to throw it in my face. But Courtney, if it doesn't go back to Dead X, it's going to come back to me, and I'm not going to let it go until I win that gold. So you can take your spooky little dolls and whatever the spooky shit and throw it to the side because it's CPG time. Okay, let's get back to us, Raheem. this whole podcast was sort of made originally to try and find out more about the people behind the character. We've already established that obviously Courtney's your wife, and that you've had an established Yu-Gi-Oh career where you met Byron, you met DC. Is there anything else in your personal life that you enjoy doing outside of wrestling or outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, or just anything else that you would sort of think that everybody would like to hear about?
Yeah, I love sports, and for me, fantasy sports is something I like to do. Do fantasy football. Right now, I'm in fantasy baseball. Um, that's another passion of mine, and I love to hang out with friends, and a lot of the things I like to do are very social. So Yu-Gi-Oh is a social thing. It's competitive, but the best part of like Yu-Gi-Oh for me was traveling with friends and the trip itself, going out of town, somewhere we've never been, maybe in the US, and we're going to compete at a high level. We spent money on travel, hotels, and the enter and the cards themselves. But just those fun times, those after the events at nights, different restaurants, hanging out, the camaraderie, um, fantasy sports, or just watching sports in general with friends over and everything like that. That's socializing. Those are just great times. And FTW, it's like a great community. So like doing this, you meet a bunch of people along the way. There's a lot of people who I met here that are just really good people to interact with, and it's nice to socialize and have a community. So sports is another passion. Competitive trading card games. I actually play Pokemon currently, competitively. Um, my son plays it. My wife liked the game, so that brought me back into playing Pokemon. And I think that's just who I am. I just like games and just things that I can socialize with others with, and that kind of is who I am. Man, I'm just a social person, and that's where I have the most fun is when I can share those things with other people that I like.
Just when we thought you couldn't get any better, you come on with all that sloppy shit, and you're yeah, but you I'm only joking. But no, that's amazing. That's the one thing I've always hailed FTW for was the family feel. We've mentioned this before. Like every episode I bloody say this now, sounding like a broken record, but that's what we are. We've always been a family, even though that I'm probably about 5,000 miles away from some of you guys, or maybe more or less around that. Like we've always been that family where I know that if I ever needed anything, I could come to every single one of you. If you needed anything, you could come to us. It's happened before. It'll happen again. But I just think that the FTW has such a good community where we have met a lot of people that we wouldn't have necessarily met without these kind of groups, and some of them become stalwarts in your life. Like we always say, Byron's like my dad, or like my prediction stepdad is what me and Dad X call him, because he's been there from day one. Haywood's like a big brother because they've been around that much, and that's just sort of the way that we are in this group, and that's what I love. So hearing that you say that you love being in, like I'm in fantasy soccer groups with old work colleagues or people that I'm working with now or friends, it makes that little bit of a difference. Maybe you don't have to contact them all the time or be able to talk to them, but when you're still in them sort of groups, it means that they're thinking of you and you're thinking of them, and it
Exactly.
keeps that bond and that touch that maybe you wouldn't have had if you hadn't been in them groups. Um, and then it might just give you that excuse to sometimes maybe message them as well, being like, "Oh, hey, look, I seen that you took a massive hit this week on points. You're sitting about maybe seventh or eighth in the league. I can't wait to see you watch, or I can't wait to watch you do your forfeit." Or like something like that. And then sometimes that can spark like a big conversation. And then you never know, you're back being as friendly with them as you were when you worked with them, or whatever like that.
Yeah, me. Speaking of Haywood, he's somebody that shares that sports passion with me. And him are in shoot about 4 different fantasy football leagues together. I've known him for quite a long time too. him through Magic the Gathering, another trading card game. I've played quite a few of those. But that's how I met him. But we became really close when he owned a shop around the area, and it was just like one of the hangout spots. And I helped run his Yu-Gi-Oh tournament at that shop a couple of times. But yeah, we've been to each other's house, watched football games. He's one of those people too. He moved out of Virginia, but when he was here, we hung out a lot. My wife threw a surprise party for me at his house when he lived here. So he's another important person in the league for me. Love you, buddy. Haywood.
Yeah, well, I don't think I've never had a bad word to say about Haywood, and I don't think I ever will. Bobby, sometimes you can be a bit much, but we love you for that, and I think that's just exactly what his personality is. Haywood's either 100% or Haywood's not Haywood, and it's good to see that you're back. It's good to see that you're back with the foundation, Haywood. It's nice to see that. Hopefully, I haven't been talking to you as much as I should be, but hopefully, you've recovered up the way that we wanted to from your minor surgery and a few bits. And there's nothing but love for you here, brother. And this is
Absolutely.
another thing for Raheem. Raheem, what would your Mount Rushmore be in FTW?
Uh, well, you would have to put the man himself, Byron. I would put DC up there. I would put Courtney Bell up there. I know some might say myself.
You
I
deserve
like
to
to be
put
modest,
yourself
but
up there. I think nobody would ever
I
have any
appreciate
doubts
that.
about that.
The dream is he is the self-proclaimed goat as well. So, but I guess Raheem need to come to grits with that. Yeah, I should be up there.
In the last episode, and I know you've listened to it, me and the guys were talking about how it's funny that in our real lives we're just Raheem and we're just Connell, but when it comes here, we're the legend that is Raheem the Dream. We're either the chosen one CPG, the big brother CPG, whatever the hell you want to call us, but we are them legendary characters within FTW. And if FTW was a real thing, like a real organization, and we were in a real company, we'd be the kind of people that were our first names or our card. My God, I can't speak tonight. Our names would be first on the card, and we'd always be the guys who were like on top constantly because we've been here and we're doing that thing. And I just think it's so weird that when we jump into FTW mode, we become a living legend. And then when we bounce out of FTW mode, we're just everyday Conal and Raheem.
Yeah, that's the magic of FTW. I mean, to any newer people who have recently joined, there's probably people who've been here for a little while that may not even exactly know my place in FTW's history. But this FTW gives you a spot to be who you want to be, express yourself how you want to express yourself. That's the beauty of this place. And we've all watched wrestling and dreamed of what we'd be if we were, in the WWE. That's probably where a lot of us got our start in wrestling. And we've all looked and dreamed and wondered, hey, I wonder what I would be. I would be this. I would want to do this. I would say this. And this is kind of like a place where we could just be big kids and express ourselves how we've always wanted to express ourselves.
And it's the number one rule of FTW. Have fun.
Have fun. Exactly.
And as long as we do that and we can go as wild as we want with promos but just, well, I suppose within reason. As long as you've cleared it with the other person and we have fun. I was talking to Byron the other day and we were saying, do you remember the days of the likes of Luscious Lucius and being part of other groups, and then everybody was merging and the whole takeovers and the 7S, the Church of Salvation, and that all, like, the beginning of FTW in season one, like we were both well a part of that, and to see where we went from season one to what are we on season?
Ooh,
Season 9-ish.
Yeah,
Like what? Like something like that. But seeing
somewhere
where we
around
went
there.
from,
Yeah, yeah. It's been so long now.
but see where we went from like season 1 when we only had maybe about 20, 30 people in the group, and we knew everything that was going on, every minute of every day, every promo we knew, every storyline, to going on, and now there's a couple thousand people in the group, or a good couple hundred people in the group, and trying to keep tabs on everybody, and so many different creative minds, and it's just crazy where we've went in the last couple of years, man.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about before what before pandemic. Here we are in 2024, and it's sometimes it's hard to keep up with everything of what's going on now. There's just so many people. This thing has grown bigger than any of us could have imagined,
Ever.
and it's an amazing thing to see where we're at, to see the community that was built, and the same principles are still holding true. We're still working together to come up with great storylines, communication, having fun, creating these characters. It's great. I just see the principle just stay the same, and we were able to just continue to grow on what we were doing and what we have done this whole time. That's special because when you add a lot of more voices, a lot more personalities, a lot more minds, it could be haywire. Things can go haywire, and it could be tough to manage it all. But we have great people here that make it easier to manage and keep up with. And you don't really have many rifts amongst people that get too out of hand or anything. For the most part, people just communicate well, and we're able to execute these storylines and keep growing the league.
Well, at the end of the day, like I said, and I completely agree with everything you've just said there, but like you said earlier on, we're all fans, man. And we all just chat shit about WWE NXT when Joe Hendry appears on it absolutely everywhere and anywhere because he is so hot right now.
It is
Um,
awesome. I believe, by the way.
so I believe, I think everybody, I think the whole world believes. I think that I believe that he needs a belt very soon somewhere.
Yeah,
TNA,
I agree.
NXT, he needs something. And I was very, the guys in PWMF. I don't know if you've seen it, but I made the parody of the Joe Andrew
Oh yeah,
video, and the guys in PWMF keep keeping me going. That every time that Joe Hendry comes on their screen, they tag me in the group chat and they say, "Oh hey, CPG's turned up at NXT, CPG's turned up at TNA," and that's like a running joke with me and them where they said that, and now I've ended up agreeing that me and the immortal Brandon Clemens will do a concert live at some point in the next couple weeks. So everybody has to stay tuned for that. But it's just the group itself has just grown more than, like you said, more than we ever would have thought. And I remember my earliest memories of FTW where me and Byron were talking. I was in the WWPL at the time. Byron had just joined, and he said, "Hey, look, we need somebody like you to come over who's gonna video promo, who's gonna just give us something different, take it by storm. You're going to be one of the first people from across the water. We're going to need just something new." And I remember going over, and instantly it was like the likes of you had texted me, Haywood had texted me, DC had texted me, Caleb, of just being like, "Oh, hey, welcome to the group. If you need anything, just let me know." And we did. And then obviously the amount of programs that me and Haywood have worked, me and DC, me and Byron, me and you haven't worked together as much as we should have, but like we've came across each other a few times. And it literally, like you said, it hasn't changed. Okay, yeah, we've got a few more cocky characters like that are coming in and not going to name names, but are coming in and are trying to throw their weight around. But realistically, we all know that they'll never have what we had to start us off. And I think
we the OGs of hockey.
I honestly, I think that the OGs were just on a different level. And I said this in a promo against Billy Side, when he had obviously the chosen one in the whole gimmick fight that we had. You could take our gimmicks away from us, and everybody will still know who we are. We don't need
Absolutely.
gimmick. Our gimmicks don't represent us whatsoever. If you dropped the dream and just kept your name as Raheem, if I dropped CPG and I just became Conail Gardiner, our legacies wouldn't stop with CPG and Raheem the Dream. They would carry on. And that's what I always laugh at. I was like, we don't need to fight for any character names, or we don't need to change, or we don't need to whatever. Okay, yeah, there's some times that we change the mantra in front. Like obviously now I'm the big brother CPG in FTW, or I'm still the chosen one in PWMF. But realistically, if anyone sees the three letters on the card, they're gonna go, "Hey, shit, he's something." And I just think that the new kids and the new people, oh my god, I sound like a vet, but like the new people coming in need to work as hard as we did, because nothing gets handed to you in the FTW. If you don't work for it, you don't get it.
Yeah, you just gotta put a little work in, and I mean, you go out there, you do some promos, win some matches, you win some matches. Excuse me. If you ask for the opportunity, you will get it. Though, I
Yep.
mean, it's a very fair place to be. If anybody wants to work with me and get their name up there, the dream is always here. The dream is always willing to give you a shot to make a name for
And that's what and again, like no matter, I've said this in multiple um like I've said this in multiple
cut out.
episodes where um what people don't realize is all they have to do is ask. Like ask and you shall receive. If you want to work a match with CPG, my inbox is always open. If you want to work a match with Raheem, his inbox is always open. DC, the Pinnacle, Dead X, Byron, Michelle, Courtney, Haywood, Drummy, whoever else is there, just talk to us. Like don't. There's nothing I hate more, and I don't know about you, is if somebody just calls me out without any sort of warning. If somebody just mentions me in a promo and calls me out, and just there's no communication there, we have a match and it means nothing. I'd much rather if somebody DM me and went, "Hey CPG, I'm going to call you out this week. Let's figure out something to do after. Will you hit me with the CKO? Will you come at me with the storyline? Will you just give me an idea?" Be like, "Of course I can, and I'll work with as many people as I can," because, like I said, we're at that point now where we're the old guys in the group, where there's not much more we can do. We've done everything there is to do, and we'll still continue to enjoy it, and we'll still try and get our championships. But it's time for other people to come in and to do their bit. But all they've got to do is fight for it and ask people like us to help them get their opportunities that they deserve, and they've got to come out of their shell just like we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, championships are always fun to have. They're always great to have. I'd be okay if I never won another one. I mean, it'd be what it is, but I'm willing to help others grow and get their name bigger. I enjoy seeing the new people come make a name for themselves and earn their opportunities and put their name amongst the greats after a while. I love to see it. There's been plenty of people who've been doing that. So that is something I take pleasure in seeing, is seeing the growth of people, growth of the storylines, and they're just the entertaining person to keep up with. That's always great.
Exactly. And I think that's, again, what we've got a testament to of FTW, where we've got people who want to do that. And normally Byron doesn't really recruit anybody who he doesn't think would fit that mantra of just coming in and working your ass off, working with people, getting your wins under your belt, getting your good promos out, working with people, and then eventually getting your championship, rather than people just coming in, raising hell, and leaving. So I think he's got a really, really good hold on that as a group.
Yeah, he does a great job of giving people opportunities that need. I mean, you can ask for an opportunity for like a title shot or something, but you have to put work in. You don't just get gifted the title shot. You have to do something to get there. But he does a good job of saying, hey, this person's been doing this, and we need to maybe give them a shot. You know, he's really good at giving that person the opportunity, and it could catapult careers here.
What's next for Raheem the Dream?
What's next for me is I have to show a certain someone by the name of the Walking Dread that you were abandoned, as you say, but realistically, you just had to be taught a lesson. Um, I'm showing you that you're still a boy. I'm hoping you step up and become a man. When you were part of the DDP with myself and Courtney Bell, you were in a triple threat, and I walked away with the title. Now you say it's because of you. I'm a vet. I knew you didn't have it in you to do what you had to do to walk away with the title. You did what you were told, and I walked away. So SummerSlam, FTW Slam, the Dream teaches the Walking Dread his place in the hierarchy. And it's going to always be beneath me because you are still a boy.
Hey, no, that's a different side of Raheem that I didn't see all afternoon. That's Raheem the Dream right there. And the Dread has no idea what's coming for him at FTW Slam. That'll be one of the matches of the night, ladies and gentlemen, and I cannot wait to see my buddy, no offense to the Walking Dread, but my buddy Raheem the Dream stand tall, as they say, and winner of this match, Raheem the Dream. Raheem, we could probably go again, and we will go again, and we'll have one with Courtney and whatever. I'm don't know if anybody can see, but I'm bearing the podcast merch tonight. Eat, sleep, interview, repeat. My good friend Raheem, he's went for the American Nightmare kind of mode. Mr. Cody, don't call my name Rhodes. It's been one hell of an episode. We find out all about Yu-Gi-Oh, about your trading cards, how your friendship with Haywood and DC and Byron came about. Then we talked about your life with Courtney. We said about what's next. The origins of Raheem the Dream. What's next for Raheem the Dream? But what's next for Raheem? What are you going to be up to the next while?
Well, I have a son who is going to college. He's trying to be an accountant. So
good luck to him.
Yeah. I'm going to be 41 here, August 15th.
And you don't look a day over 25.
So I have a 19-year-old son, and that's what he's going to school. That's why my wife loves me. But so getting him through school is important. Courtney is actually gonna go back to school as well. She has an associate, so she's gonna go, and I think her ultimate goal is to become a librarian. So I'm gonna support her in doing that. And
her also.
The three of us plan on going to a major Pokemon tournament with like a $10,000 prize. So that is my next big goal, is to try to win that.
And that would be absolutely amazing if you could. And I have every bit of faith in you that you can. Ladies and gentlemen,
I appreciate that. We've been practicing hard.
This has been a fantastic episode with Raheem. Like I said, I've wanted Raheem on for a long, long time. He's been one of the founding fathers of FTW. He's been one of the men behind the scenes that we cannot give, I don't even know the word, the amount of credit that he deserves within this group alongside Byron, alongside DC. He's one of Byron's right-hand men that have been here right from the start, and he'll never go away. Some people call him Mr. FTW. He is one of the most prestigious champions we have ever had in this organization. He is one hell of a guy, like you have just listened to and seen this entire podcast. Raheem, I'm grateful, my friend, that you took time out of your night when your wife's upstairs unwell to come and talk to me. I owe you the world in that respect. However, I've got one last favor to ask.
I appreciate you having me. So, what's that favor, man? I owe you.
Well, you've been here long enough. You've been here from the start, and you'll remember that at the end of every FTW broadcast, Mr. Byron Hinton, or Trey Marquise, as we know him in FTW, wanted me to say, "May Trey be with you." But being a lovable rogue and being 1,297 days or something after we started this podcast, I thought we'd spice it up a wee bit and make it more, not PG, but CPG. So instead of saying, "May Trey be with you," how about we both say, "May Trey go fuck himself"?
It's a good plan.
Okay. You start, and then I'll see this episode out. Ready?
Yes, sir. To everyone, appreciate you having me. I hope you enjoy. But to Trey, hey, I just wanted to tell you to go and fuck yourself.
I'm sorry, Byron. It just gets funnier every time. He's one of your best friends in the world, and I'm still getting him to tell you to go fuck yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 21 of the Chosen Chronicles. Like I said, 3 seasons later, we're only getting better. We have one of the founding fathers of FTW on my left-hand side. He has been absolutely phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. And if you want your own merch, I'm going to plug myself a wee bit, Raheem. I apologize, my friend. If you want your
Do
own
your
merch,
thing,
all you
brother.
have to do is DM myself or the fucking Saint and Silver Sparrow. Or if you want to visit the Chosen Chronicles.myshopify.com, you will find out any FTW merch, PWMF merch, and individual character stuff. So for all your merchandising needs until Byron gets FTW shop back up and running, please, please, please go to the Chosen Chronicles.myshopify.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of my favorite episodes. It has been absolutely phenomenal to get talking to Raheem. Like I've said, there's only one thing left to say. May Trey go fuck himself. Raheem the Dream, CPG, are out. That's it for episode 21.